Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jamudiret. Nastavaja Bhadrasya Nityam Bhagavatasya Bhagavate Uttamasloke Bhakti Bhavati Naistiki. This morning we are reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, second canto, chapter 4, the process of creation, text 19. Sa esa atma mavatam adishvaram tai mayodaram mamayastapomaya. Katavyalike acha sankaradibir vitakyalingo bhagavan prashidatam. Word for word translation. Saha he eshaha. It is Atma, the super soul. Atmavatam, of the self-realized souls. Adishvara, the supreme Lord. Taimaya, personified Vedas. Dharmamaya, personified religious scripture. Tapamaya, personified austerity. Katavyalikai, by those who are above all pretensions. Aja Brahmachi. Sankara Adibihi, by Lord Shiva and others. Vitarkya Lingaha, one who is observed with awe and veneration. Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead. Prashidatam, be kind toward me. Translation and purport by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. He is the super soul and the supreme lord of all self-realized souls. He is personification of the Vedas, religious scriptures, and austerities. He is worshipped by Lord Brahma and Shiva, and all those who are transcendental to all pretensions. Being so revered with awe and veneration, may that Supreme Absolute be pleased with me. Purport. The Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead, although the Lord of all followers of different paths of self-realization, is knowable only by those who are above all pretensions. Everyone is searching for eternal peace or eternal life, and with an aim to this destination, everyone is either studying the Vedic scriptures or other religious scriptures, or undergoing severe austerity as empiric philosophers, as mystic yogis, or as unalloyed devotees. But the Supreme Lord is perfectly realized only by the devotees, because they are above all pretensions. Those who are on the path of self-realization are generally classified as karmis, jnanis, yogis, or devotees of the Lord. The karmis, who are much attached by the fruitive activities of the Vedic rituals, are called bhukti karmis, or those who desire material enjoyment. The jnanis who try to become one with the Supreme by mental speculation are called mukti karmis, or those who desire liberation from material existence. The mystic yogis who practice different kinds of austerities for attainment of 8 kinds of material perfection, and will ultimately meet the Supreme, the Super Soul, Paramatma in trance, are called siddhi-kamis. And those who desire the perfection of becoming finer than the finest becoming heavier than the heaviest, getting everything desired, having control over everyone, creating everything liked, etc. All these are abilities of a powerful yogi, but the devotees of the Lord do not want anything like that for self-satisfaction. They want only to serve the Lord because the Lord is great, and living entities, they are eternally subordinate parts and parcels of the Lord. This perfect realization of the self by the devotee helps him to become desireless, to desire nothing for his personal self, and thus the devotees are called nishkam, without any desire. A living entity, by its constitutional position, cannot be void of all desires. The muktikamis, muktikamis, and siddhikamis all desire something for personal satisfaction. But the Nishkam devotees of the Lord desire everything for the satisfaction of the Lord. They are completely dependent on the orders of the Lord and are always ready to discharge their duty for the satisfaction of the Lord. In the beginning, Arjuna placed himself as one of those who desire self-satisfaction, for he desired not to fight in the battle of Kurukshetra, but to make him desireless. The Lord preached the Bhagavad Gita, in which the ways of Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Hatha Yoga, and also Bhakti Yoga were explained. Because Arjuna was without any pretension, he changed his decision and satisfied the Lord by agreeing to fight Karishe Vachanam Tava, Bhagavad Gita 18:7-3, and thus he became desireless. The examples of Brahma and Lord Shiva are specifically cited here because Brahmaji, Lord Shiva, Srimati Lakshmi, and the four Kumaras, Sanak, Sanatan, etc., are leaders of the four desireless Vaishnava Sampradayas. They are all freed from all pretensions. Srila Jiva Goswami interprets the word Guna Vyalikai as Prochita Kaitava, or those who are freed from all pretensions, the unalloyed devotees only. In Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya 19:149, it is said, Krishna Bhakta Nishkam Ataiva Sante Bhakti Mukti Siddhikami Sakali Asanta. Those who are after fruitive results for their pious activities, those who desire salvation and identity with the Supreme, and those who desire material perfection of mystical power are all restless because they want something for themselves. But the devotee is completely peaceful because he has no demand for himself and is always ready to serve the desire of the Lord. The conclusion is, therefore, that the Lord is for everyone because no one can achieve the results of his respective desires without his sanction. But as stated by the Lord in the Bhagavad Gita, all such results are awarded by him only. For the Lord is Adishvara, the original controller of everyone, namely the Vedantists, the great Karma Kandiyas, the great religious leaders, the great performers of austerity, and all who are striving for spiritual advancement, but ultimately is realized by the pretensionless devotees only. Therefore, special stress is given to the devotional service by Sukadev Goswami. I read the verse once again. Sa eva sa esha atmat mavatam madishvaras tai mayodharma mayastapomaya kata vyalike achasankara dibir vitakyalingo bhagavan pashidatam. us. He is the super soul and the supreme lord of all self-realized souls. He is the personification of the Vedas, religious scriptures and austerities. He is worshipped by Lord Brahma and Shiva and all those who are transcendental to all pretensions. Being so revered with awe and veneration, may that supreme absolute be pleased with me. Om Mahyanatimanasya Jananshana Shanaka Chakshanmritam Yena Tasmai Shigurave Namah Chichetanyamanobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutani Svam Rupakadamyam Dadati Svam Padantikam Vandeham Shiyo Shiyuda Padkamlam Shigum Vaishnavam Sham Shiyupam Jagajatam Saganaraganatam Vitam Tam Sajivan Sadvaitam Savadutam Parjana Saitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Saganalita Shivishakam Vitam Shah He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Bandhu Jatpate Opesha Kopka Kantara Kanta Namastate Tapta Kansna Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwe Krishabana Sutadevi Pranamama Haripe Pancha Kalptrubhashan Kripa Sindhvesha Padnam Bhavanabhyo Vaishnabhyo Namonam Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sati Gaura Bhaktavrindam Jaya Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamiti Namane. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine. Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paskachai Dasatani. Srila Prabhupada Ki. Lord Shiva to Mother Parvati explains that pure consciousness without any trace of the modes of material nature, this pure consciousness is Krishna consciousness. So that's the original consciousness of the spirit soul, but when the spirit soul came to this material world, this pure consciousness became contaminated with the modes of material nature, especially the modes of passion and ignorance, and by that made us misidentify with the body. That now you have many times of transcendentalists that and they have different aims that but these are all unless one becomes a bhakti yoga, these aims are materially polluted. That's only bhakti yoga is without any material desire. It's transcendental. Therefore, performing pure devotional service is very important. In the third canto, I think it's chapter 29, the practice of pure devotional service is explained there, and there it's that one can perform devotional service within the modes of nature also, but that's not pure devotional service. If one performs the devotional service with material motives, then Krishna's reciprocation especially in terms of purifying the heart, will be very limited. It will be difficult to enter anartha-nivritti. And we see all these transcendentalists have their goals. The first class mentioned the Karmakandis are not transcendentalists. They are materialistic people who study the Vedas with the purpose to get higher enjoyment, finer enjoyment, which is Karmakanda. And that's also there because the spirit soul came from the spiritual world in this material world. Why? Because they want to enjoy separate from Krishna. That's why. And Krishna respects the desires of the living entities and makes arrangement for their enjoyment and gives them also scriptures how to do it, karma kanda. But factually, Krishna wants us back to the spiritual world. Therefore, he made the arrangement. Yes, you come to this material world, you can enjoy and forget me, fine. But still, I want you to come back to the spiritual world. Therefore, every action will get a reaction. That is uh, the laws of nature. Of course, if one performs karma kanda, then it's also to please the Supreme Lord by following the scriptures. That brings one to goodness. Therefore, this karma kanda is there. The specialist in karma kanda was Sukracharya. Sukracharya is the guru, is a Brahmin, and he instructed demons of Bali Maharaj and the demons in how to perform this karma kanda and go to the heavenly planets and so on, and that there enjoy more. That is the idea. But then you have above that, you have the Jnanis. The Jnanis, their goal is different. They want liberation from material existence, which is also material desire. For this, they study the difference between matter and spirit, but their goal is not Krishna, it's Brahman. That they don't believe in Paramatma realization of going to the spiritual world. They only have the philosophy that the ultimate truth is spiritual, Brahman, and Brahmasmi, I'm also spiritual, and we have to join with this spiritual reality because this experience in this world of having a so-called ego, that's not good. So much suffering in this world. Let's give up that ego, because this material existence is just an illusion. Let's give it up, this ego, and join with Brahman. When we become one with Brahman, we become God, which is Brahman. These are their speculations. And they perform great austerities for that, renouncing in an artificial way. They are announcing so many things, but they don't realize that there's nothing to announce because nothing belongs to them. It belongs to Krishna. So this is also a very deficient philosophy. But yes, Krishna wants to be merciful to them, preach to them also in Bhagavad Gita. But yeah, because it is in the Bhagavatam also it's mentioned that the absolute truth has three divisions or aspects: Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. Vedanta tattva vidas tattvam jnanam adhyam pameti paramatmati bhagavaniti sapyate. Is Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan, the aspects of the absolute truth, but the highest is Bhagavan, that which is the source of Paramatma and Brahman. Brahman is also his eternal aspects. Paramatma is eternal aspects and some knowledge, especially about the material world, how the super soul controls the material world. And then, but Bhagavan is Satchidananda, is always blissful, eternal, and full of knowledge. So these are the jnanis. Then you have the yogis. The yogis have also their material desires. Mostly they like the many are impersonalists, like the jnanis, and they want to merge with Brahman. Or some are going for Paramatma realization. These are the real yogis. And but most yogis are deviated by mystic powers, and they want to attain mystic powers, very uh, yeah, very great powers. But yes, it's all materialistic endeavor. Even if they join with Brahman in the Brahma Jyoti, the space between the spiritual world and the material world, they cannot stay there because the soul wants activity and there's no activity in Brahman. So if they, therefore, Lord Brahma said, Yin yer vindakshi vimuktamani astvasta bhava avisuddha buddhaya. Their intelligence is polluted by this desire to become God. And they fall down again, even after so much austerities. That So this is what Prabhupada explains in this purport. It is all useless endeavor. The, that the only bona fide goal is pure devotional service. And this liberation from material existence is included in that. Because from the moment we come to the transcendental platform, then naturally we stop identifying with the body. And because our subtle body is purified, spiritualized, we transcend we transcend birth, death, old age, and disease. And then if we develop devotion, we can go back to the spiritual world. Also, this presentation here in the purport has to do with understanding what spiritual love. That's important. Spiritual love means do everything to please the transcendental senses of the Supreme Lord without asking anything in return. That is love, that spiritual love. Trying to please the beloved without asking something in return, even to the point of sacrificing oneself completely. So that is pure love. And this pure love, Krishna says to the gopis, I cannot repay your love, that it's not possible for me to reciprocate with you. But devotees, they are satisfied with the service, because if you serve without any material motive, immediately it gives pleasure to the self, to the soul. It gives peace, ecstasy, and satisfaction. That if we want material things, it will never satisfy the heart. So that is a point here which is very clearly explained. Only So only the devotees, they can feel peaceful in the heart. That all the other transcendentalists, their minds remain disturbed by these material desires. That and if they don't get their goal, if they don't get liberation or merging with Brahman, there's just frustration. That just frustration. That is all. That so, but of course, we see all these great yogis and so on. Some of these great yogis, they go to higher planetary systems, Janaloka, Tapaloka, Satyaloka. But it is still material, and they are still subject to birth, death, old age, and disease. Even although their lifespan on these highest planetary systems is very, very long, we cannot imagine. But still, it's all temporary. Time, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, I'm time, the destroyer of everything and anyone. That everyone in this material world is under time, and time will take everything away. That is, this is an unsurpassable power. But still, if we come on the transcendental platform, then time has no influence upon us. Time has no influence on the spiritual. Time has influence on the material, because on the material everything changes constantly. So the devotee knows that the devotee is interested in what's eternal. That an eternal is our relationship with Krishna, connecting our consciousness with Krishna. That's the only thing, only action, if we can do that, which gives satisfaction to the soul. That so we are in this chapter, we are discussing the creation. We will hear about the process of creation, and Brahma, Brahma praying for empowerment, introspection, and protection against illusion. That so this pure devotional service is a subject of Bhagavad Gita. That the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita, engage in this pure devotional service. But there is a long way of purifying our heart before we can come to this point of always serving the Lord out of pure love. That so factually, Bhagavad Gita teaches us about transcendental love. That and how to attain it by connecting with Krishna in so many ways of devotional service. So yes, we see also Sukadev Goswami is praying to the Supreme Lord for empowerment, so that he can narrate all these facts of the creation, that with great, as it was brought by the previous acharyas. This knowledge comes down from Krishna, and is perfect knowledge. But only devotees can understand Bhagavad Gita as Krishna meant it. That because only those who have realized love of Godhead, they can really comment on Bhagavad Gita because they know Krishna's intention, they have realized it, they can explain it how to do it. And that is Prabhupada. Prabhupada gives us that. He gives us that. All these realizations are his purpose. It's not just these realizations, it are the realizations Krishna is giving him. They are as good as the scriptures. That and we see Prabhupada refers to so many scriptures in any purport. That so yes, this is this verse that the muktis, the jnanis, karmakandis jnanis, who are mukti kamis, and the yogis, different kinds. Siddha kamis, they want perfections, yogic perfections. But Krishna says the real yogi is yoginam apisarvam mantranam pratmanam shadavabha chatoyamam samyukta tamomata. The highest yogi is one who is united with me in service, in love within the heart. That is the real yogi. But of course, the first step towards that is Shitatmana Prasantatsma Paramatma Samaita, conquering the mind first, and then one finds super soul in the heart. But then after that there's a development of love, and if the yogi then develops love for the super soul, what happens? That then he becomes a bhakti yogi, and he realizes that at that moment the super soul is an expansion of Krishna, and therefore he worships Krishna, that he becomes a devotee. So that's the yoga ladder. We see that, like these karma kandis, they are materialistic people. Okay, they go for enjoyment, but then after many lifetimes going up to the heavenly planets and coming back, rotating in the cycle of birth and death, they get a little insight. They think, why am I going up and down in this world, taking birth and die again? I want to finish it. That it seems to be useless. And then they become jnanis. They want to understand, I'm not this body. And the jnanis make difference between matter and spirit, and then they come to that realization, I'm not this body. That's good. That's the beginning of spiritual life. But then after realizing I'm not this body, I'm spirit soul, then they come to the point that, who am I? Who is this spirit soul? That I want to experience what this is spirit soul. That and then they practice yogi to get the experience, and in one of the next lifetimes usually, and then yes, they realize they become yogis. It's very rare to become a good yogi, but finally they realize the super soul. They realize I'm not the only soul. There's also a super soul who controls material nature. That, but in itself, that's a nice realization, but it's useless. You stay in this world, that's all. But if you have the realization, and then they meet a devotee, and they get to know the super soul is an expansion of Krishna, and then they become devotees to the next step. So that is the yoga ladder. But that goes over many, many lifetimes because the the karma kandis, they don't believe in God. They are mostly atheists. And then you have the jnanis. They also don't believe in God. They think that God is energy. That and yogis are mostly in the same category, but they come to the point, oh, there is some intelligence behind everything. That's a super soul who controls everything. So there is a local controller, very interesting, but in itself useless realization. And then if they meet a devotee, then they come to the realization that the, the origin of Paramatma and Brahman is Bhagavan, Lord Shri Krishna, Swayam Bhagavan. That so you have these different levels of realization. And of course, Lord Chaitanya explains Brahmande Brahmate Konya Bhagyavan Jiva, that Guru Krishna Prasade Bhai Bhakti Latabij. If these yogis and so on, or these jnanis are after going up and down in this universe, finally they come to the finally, if they are fortunate, Krishna brings them in contact with a bona fide spiritual master. And the bona fide spiritual master then gives them Krishna in seed form and tells them you should chant the holy name, you should perform devotional service, water the seed of bhakti. And then they become, by having the right understanding of the absolute truth, gradually, they become purified. So that is the direct process of devotional service, that you accept the spiritual master and you go straight to the direct process, bhakti yoga. But it's not that if you go to this, if you take directly to bhakti yoga, it does not mean that you will not have Brahman realization, Paramatma realization. Yes, Bhakti Yoga is stages from Shraddha to Prema. Shraddha means you have some faith and hearing from a spiritual master. And then Sadhu Sangha, you start to associate with devotees, accept the spiritual master. And the devotees and the spiritual master explain you how to perform devotional service, bhajana kriya. You perform devotional service in the beginning, it is unsteady, but then it becomes steady. And when you have attained steady devotional service, and you give up your offensive mentality by hearing from the spiritual master and the Bhagavatam, then gradually you become purified. And when the heart is purified, the more it's purified, the more you become attracted to Krishna. And when you have purified your heart completely, then you find Krishna in your heart as Paramatma realization. And then after that, you develop love for Krishna. That bhava and prema. So this is the process. We are also in Bhakti Yoga going to the stages of Brahman realization, Paramatma realization, and attain Bhagavan realization. So the realization that I'm not a body, that I'm spiritual, and that comes really when the heart is purified, and that's the level of becoming a Brahman. A Brahman is supposed to be above the modes of material nature, and that's Nishtha in devotional service. At the end of Anartha Nivritti is the purification of the heart. You become steady, and then after that, you become attracted to Krishna, and then it starts to go much quicker. Soon you realize Krishna in the heart, and finally love for God develops. So it's important that we understand Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga is a process with stages, and we should know how to go from one stage to another. That's important. How to go from one stage to another. That especially how to go from the offensive stage in Bhajana Kriya to Anartha Nivritti, the purification of the heart. The more we become purified, the more we can make advancement. And Krishna makes arrangements for us, for his devotees. If you take to Bhakti Yoga under the guidance of a spiritual master, then Krishna says, Ananta Sintyantamam Yechna Payapaste Tesam Nityabhyuktanam Yogakshenam Bhavnam. Krishna says, then I will give my devotee what he needs to make spiritual advancements. I will give what he needs to purify his consciousness. And I will preserve, protect the spiritual advancement the devotee made. So that's Krishna's reciprocation. Therefore, sometimes we think, yeah, devotees are still suffering. I see so many devotees still suffering. Well, there are different reasons for that. That it may be our karma. The devotees who are chanting for many, many years, they don't have karma anymore. But still, Krishna keeps some of their karma. Why? To make sure they will not be attracted to sense gratification again. And sometimes to purify his devotee, Krishna gives suffering, because if the devotee suffers, he prays to Krishna, he thinks of Krishna. That thinking of Krishna is much more valuable than the suffering. So the suffering comes away, a help to think of Krishna. And therefore Queen Kunti, she prays to Krishna, give me always these calamities. But of course, you must be on that level to want to become purified. That praying for purification, and that you have that prayer, that you have that prayer from which is meant in the 5th canto of the Bhagavatam. That where Prahlad Maharaj, who is in Harivarsha, prays the Lord Nrsimhadev. Namaste Narasimhaya, Namaste Steyase Abhiravavat, Vachanaka Vachandamsta, Kamasya Kamasya Rasagasa, Abhyam Abhyamatmi Bhustya Om Shram. That, yes, that, so Prahlad Maharaj prays, O Lord Nrsimhadev, you have this sharp nails. Please conduct the operation, go into my heart and take all the dirt away, all these material desires. Prabhupada writes in this purport, devotees should have the courage to pray like this, to purify us. Of course, purification mostly goes together with suffering, but it helps you. Devotees who are sincere, who want to become purified, it helps them to become purified. So, Hare Krishna, is it possible to go directly from earth, Mrityu Loka, to Vaikuntha by doing pure bhakti, or can we go by passing all the other above planets? So that's a question from Anjan, which is in the chat. And that theoretically, yes. In practice, very difficult. Better go directly. Because if you go to the heavenly planets, The heavenly planets is the greatest obstacle for bhakti. Because in the heavenly planets, there there's so much opportunity for sense gratification that you easily forget Krishna. And we see Indra forgets Krishna again and again. So that's for devotees, that's like the hellish planets. They don't want to go there. Then you have the planets above, which are rarely attained by great tapasvis, by yogis, jnanis. After doing lifetimes of austerities, they go there. But the problem on these higher planets is that no really devotee association. You are like with like-minded people who want to join with Brahman and so on. That's a problem. Unless you go to Satyaloka, Brahmaloka, there you have the association with Brahma. But the problem there is you must wait till the end of the life of Brahma to go to the spiritual world if you become a devotee. So better not to take that path, better to go directly. Yeah, I would say if you go to the higher planetary systems, that then yes, it's a problem. Better to go directly. You take a direct flight to Vaikuntha from earthly Vrindavan, the direct planet, the direct flight. That I remember when I joined the movement, I was associating with Mahavishnu Goswami, old Gujarati devotee from sannyasi from Gujarat who lived in London at that time. He left his body 20 years ago. But he said, you chant Hare Krishna, you follow the pose of devotional service, then your seat for Vaikuntha is already reserved. You have just to wait for your flight, become qualified, and then you can take the flight, direct flight to Vaikuntha. But devotees are not so much interested to, most devotees are not interested to go to Vaikuntha. They want to go directly to Golok, which is beyond the material and the spiritual worlds. But to go there, you must develop Vraja Bhakti, different kinds of Bhakti. And that is the goal of most devotees. They want to come in the mood of the cowherd boys, or Mother Yasoda, or the gopis, and that is more intense love. If we develop that intense love, we can go to Golok, which is beyond Vaikuntha. Anyway, I hope that helps. Mother Venuya, any question? Yes?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble
Hare
obeisance.
Krishna, I have a question.
Hare Krishna, I have a question related to the question of Mataji. Is it, how should be our attitude or our prayer? I pray every morning, please, if you so desire, let me go back to Godhead at the end of this life. How should be our attitude and our prayer that we can come closer to the direct way?
Yeah, that depends on your mood and your eternal relationship with Krishna. That will be revealed. But usually when one is attracted to ISKCON, it's a strong a strong indication our destination is Golok, not Vaikuntha. But it develops, it depends on us. After when we are come to Nishta, the platform of self-realization, then when the heart is pure, our, our natural relationship with Krishna will become awakened gradually, and we will become attracted to serve Krishna in a particular way. And that's the indication. And at that moment, one can follow Raganuga Bhakti and, and read about devotees who have that same mood. And that will help us to uncover our, our real relationship with Krishna, which is there, because our relationship with Krishna is eternal. We just forgot it. That's the only thing. When Prabhupada came to America, the reporter asked him, "What's the purpose of your visit?" Prabhupada said, "I come to remind you what you have forgotten." That, and that is our relationship with Krishna. Does that help, Mother Vanilla?
Yes, thank you very much. And I read recently in the 10th canto, I don't have the exactly verse at the present moment, but what happens to the Paramatma? I've read that the Paramatma goes to the Brahmajyoti, or what happens also when devotee gives up the body, or anybody else also, what happens to the Paramatma?
Yeah, that I don't know. I didn't read about it, but when we go to the spiritual world in Vaikuntha or Golok, there we have Krishna directly. Here we have the connection with Paramatma, is expansion. The, that, but they are non-different in that. They are non-different. So yes, if you go to the spiritual world, it's Paramatma uh, becomes Krishna directly. I have no information how this happens, but I won't worry too much about that. Let's concentrate on purifying our heart and then get Krishna's mercy. And by Krishna's mercy, these things will become clear. Is that okay?
Thank you very much, Mark.
Okay, good. Purnachandra Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Yeah. Maharaj, thank you very much for giving this class and trying to meet us every week. Besides your health challenges, as well as multiple classes you give every day, but still you are accommodating us. So thank you very much. Raj, I have two questions. One is you nicely explained about the stages of bhakti, the different stages and how we can go, and Krishna helps us. Um, do you have any lectures which you can forward us, or to go more deeper in that, or any other suggestions how we can understand little more?
Yeah, first of all, uh, I wrote this book, Japananda, with all this explaining all these stages in terms of the chanting of the holy name. And it's important to be aware of these stages. But you can also hear, and I think it's on the VIG website. There you go, if you go to the audio section, and then you have many lectures. They are sorted by name. So go to Prahlad Nanda Swami, and there you have if I remember correctly, his seminar from Shraddha to Prema, and he explains it very nicely. That's I heard these seminars many times because I traveled with Maharaj. And that inspired me to take this very serious, understanding these stages, or to go understanding in what stage I'm at, and how can I go to the next stage? That is this is just very important for all of us, how to know where we are and what we have to do to make spiritual advancement. But you find that on the VHE website also. Yeah, I think it's
Yes, Maharaj, I found it here.
yeah, I think it's important to hear that again and again and again. Also for preachers and sannyasis, we are stressing that understand these stages, adashada, tata, satasangatya, vajanakriya, and up to prema, to understand this verse of Rupa Goswami with these stages deeply. That helps to look forward. Where I'm going, what's my goal? What's the path that I'm following, and where am I on the path? And what are the obstacles that I will meet, and how to overcome it? It's all explained there. It's so important, that that we become deeply acquainted with that. Yeah. Anyway,
Yes, Maharaj.
I
Yeah,
hope that
thank you.
helps.
Yes, Maharaj, certainly. And Maharaj, the second question is about today's verse. It is specifically mention austerities also, along with Vedas and scriptures. So why that is so important?
The austerity part of the process of bhakti is needed to stop all sinful activities. That we follow these four regulative principles, which are based on the religious principles explained in the Vedas: truthfulness, cleanliness, mercy, that and austerity is four principles. Austerity is one of them. We must follow that. Therefore, we follow these four regulative principles. We stop sinful activities. Therefore, our tapasya. Lord, Srila Prabhupada said, yeah, our tapasya is, these are the negative, the regulations, but there are also the rules. That's also part of our tapasya, to do that every day, chanting 16 rounds. That's part of our tapasya. Taking only Krishna prasadam, dancing, chanting before the deities. That's our tapasya also, positive and negative. And we have to do that. But in Bhakti Yoga, it becomes much more easy. That we have a clear goal, we are serving Krishna, we feel it's natural, we feel satisfied in it. But the jnana yogis and the other yogis, yeah, they don't have their relationship with Krishna. It becomes difficult, boring, that takes many lifetimes, and finally it's useless because uh, they have material goals. That makes it completely useless. Material means temporary goals, intermediate goals. That does that help?
Yes, Maharaj. Yeah, thank you very much, Maharaj.
Okay, then we will meet next week, Thursday and Friday. Hopefully it will be possible.
Yes.
I will be back I'm in Canada now, and then I'll be back in Belgium somewhere. Hare Krishna. Have a nice day. Jai Prabhupada. Hare
His
Bo.
Bhakti Prabha Maharaj ki jai. Thank you very much,
Hare
Maharaj.
Bo.
Hare Krishna.